Zone 5 right around the horizon with so many players and so many servers, as well as other servers already fighting, I figured it's time for episode 2 of our Art of War series, where in this episode we're going to be breaking down what makes positioning so much important. And I want to emphasize on how important it is and how micro can make or break your fights, plus how can you play around turrets, because I see a lot of people just either build a turret and go AFK, or build a turret and not even protect it, making it completely useless. So stick around in this video because we're going to be continuing our series into the fundamentals of the art of war. What is up, guys? Meower here, back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. So, in continuation of our Art of War series, I want to really emphasize how important fundamentally positioning yourself, your troops, and playing around your allies is. Sadly, right now, as of recording this video, I don't really have live footage of myself playing, but I think we can find another server fighting, and I want to break over what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing when you're fighting. So before we get started, please don't forget to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get started. So to start off, we're gonna be observing server 2-14, which has a little skirmish going on. I know for a fact that this is not the full activity of either ETS or ROE/DYP, but we're gonna be using their microwing as an example to what sets apart a good player when they're fighting versus a bad player when they play around turns, especially because a lot of players are going to be facing turns in season 2, plus especially as everyone starts to enter it. So, starting off, we're going to be starting by breaking down what the players are currently doing. So, as we can see, some turrets have the range, they're still repairing, they're still building. So, some of these players are just doing their best to try to pick off and try to juggle themselves. As we can see, there is range of the turrets right here. There is mind you, though, when turrets start attacking, they only attack once you are in attack or in combat with someone else. If you're not in combat, turrets will not attack you. So do keep that in mind when you're trying to move forward and try to destroy towers of your own or turrets of your own. You can see here a little emote going on here and there. Some player right here going way overboard for no reason. But again, I don't really know the entire story of the war right here, so I don't want to, you know, commented on the politics of it. But as we can see, some players are like this example. This player is overextending his welcome way too much than he needs to, versus players like this that's just hitting, and as soon as someone hits them, they run away immediately, dropping aggro and maintaining the HP of their units. Because when you are fighting, the higher your HP, the better your effectiveness is on the field. Of course, you always want to try to juggle in and out, especially for mages. Mages have the best micro ability in the game due to their high range, plus their reliance more on skill cycling versus normal attacks such as from archers or from infantry that you just throw in the field and forget, or cavalry that you need to run around, circle around, try to sneak in, get some licks here and there, and get out. You can see here they're all marching up. They're fighting under the turret range right now, which is not the best thing for DYB and ROE, but EDS is playing it really well where they're using the cover fire from the turrets to try to bait players in. They don't really need to overextend this line right here, because as soon as they overextend it, the tower doesn't really start helping them, because their mage range is right here. Just click them off outside the turret range. So they really have no need to surpass this little line, this little mana well right here. So when you are fighting, you always want to set for yourselves some limitations. You don't want to go overextending and deep into the enemy territory and just going Rambo mode and end up suiciding your troops for no reason without getting any net gain. In big wars, getting the most merits is not always mean you're the most effective player on the field. For example, I can get 1 million merits in a single fight, and I'm out of the fight in 5 minutes, because what do? I just 5 bomb my marches, I get as many kills as possible, and then just like that, I'm absolutely useless. Meanwhile, other players are getting the same 1 million merits I am, but over time, meaning they are more effective on the field, they're lasting longer, they're trading better, and they're just helping their allies achieve their goals better and faster. You can also start to use those little resource nodes right there to drop aggro from turrets. You can go in a resource node, hit a turret, and then go back into the node again to drop aggro before the tower even starts to attack you. Now, do note this could only work when you are fighting a tower solo and trying to snipe it. Playing around your keeps is also important, but again, this is mostly in a defensive position, and right now, I do believe this is both of their downtimes, so don't really have that much action to commentate on. But the idea is still the same. So let's get back to our city so we can position our troops and see what we can figure out together in this guide. So right here, I'm gonna be launching out my infantry. We said multiple times, especially in the last video, that infantry should be the first in your lineup, archers be second, and mages be the final one. You don't want to have them all in the same position. Though for archers, you can always just juggle from the side because most people tend to attack in a straight line. So for example, if I have my mage here, I'm just gonna attack in a straight line. It's very rare to see someone focus the sideline from here or focus the sideline from here, which is where your positioning plays a big space or a big factor. So, for example, if my archers are right here and I want to focus someone in here, I would just move one to the side, far away from all and any AoE that's going on from enemy mages that will be focusing here on the big ball of mages that will be in the middle, and I can be able to freely hit people without having the risk of getting attacked myself. So, just to summarize, when you are fighting defensively or offensively, if you're fighting defensively, playing around your turrets is far more important than just building them and keeping them undefended. If you leave turrets undefended, they're going to get melted because not only are they squishy, they also just do nothing if they're solo. Like, it doesn't matter how many turns you have on the field, if there are no marches to support it, they're not going to do much at all. The same concept with barricades, though turrets are far more punishing to leave unchecked than barricades are because they take much less time and much less effort to destroy and absolutely dismantle. So, just to summarize everything, we summarized that positioning is very important. Microing is even more important because, again, what is the point of having, for example, in my case, 7.4 million merits if I have no effectiveness in the field where I just 5 bomb my marches and then for the first 5 minutes and then just go AFK because I'm either one out of stamina, two out of troops, and my hospital is full. I can just go, pat myself on the back, be like, I got my merits, I don't need to do anything else. When in reality, you will end up watching your allies suffer for it. So, if you're in a big fight and you feel like you're unable to micro your troops effectively, it's always fine to use one or two marches together and just group them. If you are in on PC, just use a control group one. I tend to have my marches on two separate control groups. Control group one for my range marches, control group two for my infantry marches. If it's a big scale war, I end up having three control groups. Control group one for my mages, control group two for my infantry, for example, or for my archers, and control group three for my archers or my infantry, depending on how I sent out my marches and how I ended up grouping them. But the same concept is always there. Microing is everything in Call of Dragons. If you don't micro, you are just hurting yourself and the potential that you can end up having in an open field war. Because in the end, it's all about who can outlast who, because every single war in Call of Dragons is always a war of attrition. And on that note, that covers our episode 2 for Art of War, the fundamentals of microing, and why positioning is so much more important than anything. Hopefully, for episode 3, once wars start happening, I'll be able to cover wars more effectively and break down why it is so important to position yourself in the right position versus just ramboing in, throwing in your marches and hoping for the best, when in reality, you become absolutely useless because you just end up out of stamina or out of troops, and you just watch your allies get rolled over and just say, what did I do wrong? So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Join the Discord if you want to get account coached, or you have any questions for me as well. Just ping me there or send a message. I always try to check it as much as possible. And just overall, I love interacting with every one of you. So, on that note, have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.